Captain Leia Vasquez pressed her palm against the observation deck's reinforced viewport, watching Earth's blue marble slowly rotate beneath the space station Leia. Named after the legendary princess from ancient Earth cinema, the station had been humanity's crown jewel in orbit for over 2 decades. As its commanding officer, Leia had spent the last 5 years ensuring its smooth operation, managing everything from scientific research to diplomatic missions. The morning shift change was in full swing, with the soft hum of life support systems providing a comforting backdrop to the controlled chaos of a working space station. Leia had always found solace in these quiet moments before the day's briefings began, when she could simply observe the planet that had given birth to her species. "Captain," came a voice from behind her. Lieutenant Commander Chen Rodriguez approached with his usual measured pace, tablet in hand. "The night shift reports are ready for your review." "Any anomalies, Chen?" Leia asked, not turning from the viewport. "Nothing significant. Routine maintenance on the solar array completed ahead of schedule. The new hydroponics bay is showing promising yield increases. And we've got 3 vessels requesting docking clearance for later today." Leia nodded absently, her attention caught by something unusual in her peripheral vision. A small distortion in space, barely visible against the star field, seemed to shimmer about 50 kilometers off their starboard side. "Chen, bring up the external sensor array. Focus on coordinates." She paused, calculating quickly. "Mach 774 by 231. Rodriguez quickly interfaced with his tablet, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. "Sensors are active, Captain. I'm not seeing anything unusual in that sector." "Look closer." Leia's voice carried a note of concern that made Rodriguez straighten. After 5 years serving under her command, he knew that tone meant something was definitely wrong. The large display screen flickered to life, showing a magnified view of the specified coordinates. At first, nothing seemed out of place, just a familiar backdrop of stars and the occasional piece of space debris. But then, as if materializing from nothing, a small dark object began to take shape. "What the hell is that?" Rodriguez whispered. The object was roughly spherical, about the size of a small asteroid, but its surface was too smooth, too perfect. It seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, creating an almost hole-like appearance in space. As they watched, it began to expand, not growing larger but somehow opening up, like a flower blooming in reverse. "All stop," Leia commanded, her training taking over. "Sound general quarters. I want every sensor we have focused on that object." The station's klaxon began its measured alert tone as crew members throughout the facility moved to their emergency stations. Within minutes, the command center was fully staffed, with department heads arriving to assess the situation. "Talk to me, Science," Leia said to Dr. Sarah Kim, the station's chief science officer. "Captain, I've never seen anything like this. The object is exhibiting properties that shouldn't be possible. It's creating a localized distortion in space-time, but the energy readings are off the charts. Whatever technology is responsible for this is far beyond our current understanding." The dark object continued to expand, now resembling a massive hole in space itself. The edges rippled like water, and strange geometries seemed to fold in on themselves within its depths. Then, without warning, the first ship emerged. It was unlike anything in humanity's catalog of known vessels. Sleek and organic-looking, it moved with a fluid grace that defied conventional physics. No visible propulsion system, no exhaust trails, just smooth, purposeful motion through the void. "One ship," Rodriguez noted, his voice tight with tension. "Not for long," Dr. Kim replied grimly, her instruments detecting massive energy fluctuations within the dark aperture. She was right. Within moments, dozens of similar vessels began emerging from what the crew had started calling the molehill, a term coined by one of the junior technicians that somehow seemed to fit the bizarre phenomenon perfectly. "Captain," came a voice from the communications station. "We're receiving no response to our standard first contact protocols. The ships aren't acknowledging our hails." Leia watched in growing alarm as the number of emerging vessels climbed into the hundreds, then thousands. Each ship was roughly the same size as their own shuttlecraft, but their formation patterns suggested a level of coordination that spoke of advanced artificial intelligence or collective consciousness. Chin, get me a direct line to Earth Command. Priority Alpha clearance. Yes, Captain. Earth Command is standing by. The main screen split, showing Admiral Jennifer Harrison's weathered face alongside the continued stream of alien vessels. The Admiral's expression was grim. Clearly, Earth's sensor networks had also detected the anomaly. Captain Vasquez, we're seeing the same readings from down here. What's your assessment? Admiral, we're looking at what appears to be some kind of portal or gateway. Thousands of unknown vessels have already emerged, with more coming through every minute. They're not responding to communication attempts, and their technology is far beyond anything we've encountered. Hostile intent? Unknown, but their formation patterns suggest military organization. I recommend we assume the worst and hope for the best. Admiral Harrison nodded grimly. Agreed. I'm authorizing Defense Condition 2 for all orbital installations. Begin evacuation protocols for non-essential personnel. As if responding to some unseen signal, the alien vessels suddenly began to spread out in a perfect sphere around the molehill. Their movements were so synchronized that it was almost hypnotic to watch. Each ship took its assigned position with mechanical precision, creating a vast three-dimensional formation that enclosed a significant portion of space around Earth's orbit. Captain, Dr. Kim called out, her voice strained. I'm detecting massive energy buildups from multiple vessels. Whatever they're planning, it's big. Leia's blood ran cold as the implications hit her. Chun, emergency broadcast to all ships and stations in the system. Code red evacuation. All vessels are to implement emergency protocols immediately. Captain, the communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a transmission. It's coming from the alien formation. Put it through. The speaker crackled with static, then cleared to reveal a voice that was distinctly not human. It spoke in perfect English, though with an oddly mechanical cadence that suggested translation software. Attention, inhabitants of the third planet. You have been judged inadequate stewards of this world. Your species has demonstrated an inability to manage your resources or maintain ecological balance. Therefore, your removal has been deemed necessary for the greater good of this solar system. The transmission paused, and Leia felt the weight of every eye in the command center upon her. This was it, first contact, and it was everything humanity had feared. You have 72 of your time units to prepare for transition. Those who cooperate will be relocated to appropriate facilities. Those who resist will be eliminated. This is not a negotiation. This is an inevitability. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Captain, Admiral Harrison's voice cut through the quiet. Did you copy that transmission? Every word, Admiral. It appears we have 72 hours before they begin their operation. Then we'd better make them count. I'm implementing the Terra Defense Protocol immediately. All available resources are being mobilized. Leia had heard of the Terra Defense Protocol, a theoretical last resort plan developed by Earth's military strategists for exactly this type of scenario. It had never been tested, and many questioned whether it would work against technology as advanced as what they were now facing. Captain, Rodriguez said quietly, what are your orders? Leia looked around the command center at her crew, people who had trusted her with their lives and who were now looking to her for leadership in humanity's darkest hour. The weight of responsibility was crushing, but she had trained for this moment her entire career. We do what we've always done, she said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. We protect Earth, we protect humanity, and we make sure our species survives to see another day. All hands prepare for war. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of activity, as the space station Leia transformed from a peaceful research facility into a military command center. Every department worked around the clock to prepare for the coming conflict, while similar preparations took place on Earth's surface and throughout the solar system. Captain Leia stood in the station's Strategic Operations Center, a room that had been hastily converted from the main conference area. Holographic displays showed the positions of every known vessel in Earth's vicinity, both human and alien. The picture was not encouraging. Status report, she ordered as her senior staff gathered around the central table. Dr. Kim stepped forward first. The alien fleet has stabilized at approximately 12,000 vessels. They've maintained their spherical formation, but we've detected probe ships conducting reconnaissance flights throughout the system. They're mapping our defenses. What about their technology? Leia asked. Still largely incomprehensible. Their ships seem to manipulate space-time itself for propulsion, which explains why we see no conventional engine signatures. Energy readings suggest they're powered by something far more advanced than our fusion reactors, possibly antimatter or something even more exotic. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez consulted his tablet. Earth Command has managed to mobilize significant resources. The Luna defense grid is fully operational, and they've recalled every available ship from the outer system patrols. Total human vessels now number just over 400. 400 against 12,000. Leia muttered. Those aren't good odds. There's more, Rodriguez continued. The Chinese orbital platform Harmony has reported successful tests of their new plasma cannon arrays. The weapon systems are being installed on all major installations as we speak. Commander Jackson Webb, the station's tactical officer, spoke up. Captain, I've been analyzing their formation patterns. It's almost like they're treating this as a siege rather than a battle. They're not moving to attack, they're simply containing us. Containing us for what? Unknown. But given their ultimatum, I suspect they're waiting for us to surrender before they begin their relocation process. Leia nodded grimly. Earth's leaders had been clear in their response to the alien ultimatum. Humanity would never surrender its homeworld. The negotiations had been brief and futile, with the aliens simply reiterating their timeline and demands. Captain, came a voice from the communications station. We're receiving a priority transmission from the surface. It's President Martinez. The main display activated, showing the President of the United Earth Alliance in her emergency command bunker. Despite the gravity of the situation, she appeared calm and resolute. Captain Vasquez, I wanted to speak with you personally before we begin the next phase of our defense. Your station's position makes it our most advanced observation point, and we're going to need your eyes and ears up there. Of course, Madam President. What are your orders? Operation Lighthouse is a go. You'll be receiving detailed technical specifications shortly, but I wanted you to understand the scope of what we're attempting. Leia frowned. Operation Lighthouse wasn't part of any defense protocol she knew about. Ma'am, I'm not familiar with that designation. It's been classified above your clearance level until now. Dr. Elizabeth Chin at the Lunar Research Facility has been working on a theoretical weapons system based on quantum entanglement principles. If her calculations are correct, we might be able to level the playing field. A quantum weapon? Dr. Kim interrupted, her scientific curiosity overriding protocol. The energy requirements alone would be enormous. That's where you come in. The President continued. We're going to need to channel the power output of every fusion reactor in the system through a synchronized network. Your station will serve as one of the primary nodes. The implications were staggering. If something went wrong with the power transfer, the station could be vaporized in seconds. But if they did nothing, humanity would be extinct in 3 days. We understand the risks, Madam President. When do we begin? Technical teams are already en route to your location. Installation begins in 6 hours. We'll have one chance to make this work. As the transmission ended, Leia felt the weight of the situation settling over her shoulders like a lead blanket. In less than 60 hours, her crew would either be heroes who helped save humanity, or they would be among the last humans to die in Earth's orbit. Captain, Rodriguez said quietly, there's something else. We've been monitoring communications from the alien fleet. They're using some kind of quantum encryption, but our computers have managed to decode fragments. What kind of fragments? They're referring to Earth as Resource Node 7834. Humans are classified as indigenous biological contaminants. And the most disturbing part, they've done this before. Multiple times. Dr. Kim paled. You're saying they've wiped out other species? 17 documented cases in this galaxy alone. Each time, the pattern is the same: ultimatum, brief period for compliance, then systematic elimination of the native population. Leia closed her eyes, trying to process the magnitude of what they were facing. These weren't just invaders. They were exterminators, carrying out what they perceived as pest control on a galactic scale. "Captain," Webb interrupted, "we're detecting movement in the alien formation. 3 ships are breaking away from the main group." "Where are they headed?" "Directly toward us." The command center erupted in controlled chaos as crew members scrambled to their stations. The approaching vessels were still several hours away at their current speed, but their intent was clear. "Red alert," Leia ordered. "All hands to battle stations. Raise defensive shields and prepare weapon systems." "Captain," Dr. Kim said, studying her instruments, "I'm detecting some kind of scanning beam originating from those ships. They're conducting a detailed analysis of our station. Can you block it?" "I'm trying, but their technology is so advanced that our countermeasures are largely ineffective." Leia watched the tactical display as the 3 alien vessels approached. Each ship was roughly the size of a small fighter, but their energy signatures suggested capabilities far beyond their size. If they chose to attack, the station's defenses would be woefully inadequate. "Communications, open a channel to the approaching vessels." "Channel open, Captain." "This is Captain Leia Vasquez of the United Earth Alliance vessel Leia. You are approaching a civilian research station. State your intentions." The response came immediately, in the same mechanical voice they had heard before. "Station designated Leia, you will prepare to receive an inspection team. Compliance is mandatory. Resistance will result in immediate termination." "We do not consent to boarding," Leia replied firmly. "You have no authority in this system. Your consent is irrelevant. Your authority is non-existent. Prepare for boarding." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in tense silence. Leia looked around at her crew, seeing her own determination reflected in their faces. They had trained for hostile boarding actions, though never against an enemy with such overwhelming technological superiority. "Security teams to all airlocks," she ordered. "I want every entry point monitored and defended. If they want to board this station, they're going to have to fight for it." "Captain," Rodriguez said, "the technical teams for Operation Lighthouse are still en route. If we engage the aliens now, we might not be able to complete the installation." It was an impossible choice. Fight now and risk losing humanity's only chance at survival, or allow the aliens to board and potentially compromise the entire operation. Leia weighed the options quickly, her mind racing through the tactical implications. "We hold them off as long as we can," she decided. "But if it comes down to saving the station or saving the mission takes priority." As the alien vessels drew closer, their strange organic curves becoming visible through the viewport, Leia couldn't help but think about the thousands of other species that had faced this same moment. How many had fought back? How many had surrendered? And how many had simply been swept aside like insects? "Captain," Webb reported, "the alien vessels are slowing. They're taking up position around our main docking bay. Distance? 2 kilometers and closing." Leia watched as the 3 ships moved with perfect coordination, their dance-like movements both beautiful and terrifying. Whatever happened next, she was determined that humanity would face it with courage. "All hands, this is the captain," she announced over the ship's intercom. "We are about to receive unwelcome visitors. Remember your training, trust your equipment, and know that the fate of our species may depend on what we do in the next few hours. Make every shot count." As the alien vessels continued their approach, Leia couldn't shake the feeling that they were being studied like specimens in a laboratory. The clinical precision of their movements, the mathematical perfection of their formation, it all suggested a level of detachment that was somehow more terrifying than outright hostility. "They're not here to negotiate," she realized aloud. "They're here to examine us before they dispose of us." The game had changed. This wasn't just about defending Earth anymore, it was about proving that humanity deserved to survive. The first alien craft attached itself to the station's hull with a sound like grinding metal, though the actual contact was surprisingly gentle. Through the security monitors, Leia watched as the vessel's surface began to reshape itself, forming a perfect seal around airlock 7. "Hull breach in Section C," reported Chief Engineer Martinez over the intercom. "No, wait, they're not breaching. They're integrating with our airlock mechanism." "Explain," Leia ordered, moving to the tactical display. "It's like they're hacking our hardware at the molecular level. The airlock controls are responding to their ship's interface." "Captain, I've never seen anything like this." Dr. Kim looked up from her sensor readings. "The alien vessel is analyzing the composition of our hull, our atmosphere, even the electrical systems. It's like they're learning everything about us in real time." "Security teams, report status." "Team Alpha in position at airlock 7, came the reply from Lieutenant Santos. "We've got a clear field of fire, but Captain, their ship is doing something to our systems. Half our equipment is acting up." Leia frowned. The aliens' technological superiority was even more overwhelming than they had initially assumed. If they could manipulate human technology so easily, conventional resistance might be futile. "Stand by, all teams. Do not engage unless fired upon." The waiting was agonizing. Through the security feeds, they could see the alien ship's surface continuing to ripple and change, adapting to their station's design with unsettling efficiency. After what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, the airlock began to cycle. "Captain," Martinez's voice was tight with tension. "The airlock is opening. Something's coming through." The security camera in the airlock corridor showed the heavy door sliding open, revealing a figure that was both more and less human than anyone had expected. It stood roughly 6 feet tall, with limbs proportioned like a human's, but its skin had a translucent quality that revealed intricate patterns of light flowing beneath the surface. Its face was smooth and featureless except for large, dark eyes that seemed to contain depths impossible to fathom. "Jesus!" whispered someone on the command deck. The alien moved with fluid grace, each step perfectly calculated. It was followed by 2 more identical figures, their movements synchronized in a way that suggested shared consciousness or advanced coordination. "Security Team Alpha, they're approaching your position," Leia warned. "Copy that, Captain. They're not carrying visible weapons, but given their technology level, that might not mean much." The lead alien stopped directly in front of the security barricade, its dark eyes focusing on Lieutenant Santos. When it spoke, its voice came not from any visible mouth, but seemed to resonate from the air itself. "You are the defensive coordinator for this section. Your resistance is noted but unnecessary. We require access to your command center and data storage systems." "Like hell," Santos replied, raising his weapon. "Your projectile weapons are ineffective against our defensive systems. However, we do not wish to harm you unnecessarily. Please step aside." "Santos, hold your position," Leia ordered through the comm system. "Unknown entities, this is Captain Vasquez. I'm in command of this station. What are your intentions?" The alien's head turned toward the nearest security camera, those unsettling eyes seeming to look directly at her through the lens. "Captain Vasquez, we are conducting a biological and technological assessment of your species. Your cooperation will expedite this process. And if we don't cooperate, then we will conduct the assessment without your cooperation. The outcome will be the same." Dr. Kim grabbed Leia's arm. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy buildups from their ships. If they decide to force their way in, they could vaporize this entire section." Leia weighed her options quickly. The technical teams for Operation Lighthouse were still 40 minutes away. If the aliens gained access to the station's computer systems, they might discover the plan and eliminate humanity's only chance. "Santos, fall back to secondary position Beta. Do not engage unless I give the direct order." "Captain, are you sure about this?" "Do it." Reluctantly, the security team withdrew deeper into the station, maintaining their defensive positions but allowing the aliens to advance. The 3 figures moved through the corridors with the same fluid grace, their feet making no sound on the metal deck plates. They're heading toward the main computer core, reported Dr. Kim. Captain, if they access our systems, they'll have complete records of Earth's defenses, population centers, everything. Not if we wipe the system first. Ma'am? Emergency Protocol 7. Purge all non-essential data from the main computers. If they want our information, they'll have to work for it. As the data purge began, Leia watched the aliens' progress through the security monitors. They moved with purpose, but also with a strange kind of respect for their environment. They didn't break anything unnecessarily or show any signs of aggression beyond their stated intentions. Captain, came a new voice over the intercom. This is Dr. Chen with the Lighthouse Technical Team. We're approaching the station now. ETA 10 minutes. Copy that, Dr. Chen. Be advised, we have hostile boarders. Dock at Bay 4 and proceed with all possible speed. The aliens had reached the main computer core, and Leia watched as the lead figure extended its hand toward the primary interface panel. Where its fingers touched the metal, the surface began to glow with the same patterns of light that flowed beneath its skin. They're interfacing directly with our systems, Dr. Kim reported, her voice filled with scientific fascination despite the circumstances. It's like they're speaking to the computer in its own language. Are they getting through the security protocols? Not yet, but they're learning. Each attempt is more sophisticated than the last. Leia made a decision that would either save humanity or doom it. All hands prepare for emergency decompression. We're going to vent the computer core. Captain, that could kill them, Rodriguez protested. That's the idea. Her finger hovered over the emergency control, but before she could activate it, the alien in the computer core turned toward the security camera again. Captain Vasquez, we are aware of your intentions. Attempting to harm us will result in immediate retaliation against your planet. We suggest you reconsider. The threat was delivered in the same emotionless tone, but its implications were clear. Any aggressive action against the boarding party would trigger a full-scale attack on Earth. Captain, Martinez called out. The technical team is docking now. They're requesting immediate access to the primary power systems. Grant it. Security teams, escort them to the power core and protect them at all costs. As the Lighthouse technical team rushed through the station's corridors, Leia found herself in an impossible position. She needed to delay the aliens long enough for the weapon installation to be completed, but any direct confrontation would likely result in Earth's destruction. Unknown entities, she said, addressing the aliens directly. I'm willing to discuss terms. The lead alien paused in its computer interface work. Terms? You said you were conducting an assessment. What if we could demonstrate that humanity deserves to survive? Your species has been evaluated according to standard criteria. The assessment is complete. But you're still here, still gathering data. That suggests the assessment isn't actually complete. For the first time, the alien seemed to hesitate. Its companions turned their attention to it, and Leia got the impression of some kind of silent communication taking place. You propose a trial period? I propose a demonstration. Give us 72 hours to prove that humanity can change, that we can be better stewards of our world. And if your demonstration fails? Then we accept your judgment. The alien was quiet for a long moment, its dark eyes seeming to weigh her words. Finally it spoke. Your proposal has merit. However, any attempt at deception or resistance during this period will result in immediate implementation of our original timeline. Understood. Very well. You have 72 hours to present your case. Begin now. As the alien returned to its examination of the computer systems, Leia felt a mixture of relief and terror. She had bought humanity 3 more days, but at what cost? And what kind of demonstration could possibly convince beings with such advanced technology that humans were worth saving? Dr. Chen, she called over the intercom. How long until the lighthouse system is operational? 18 hours for basic functionality, 36 for full power. Make it faster. Captain, I don't think you understand the complexity of what we're attempting. We're essentially building a weapon that manipulates quantum reality itself. One miscalculation could. Doctor, one miscalculation could save our species. The aliens have given us 72 hours to prove ourselves worthy of survival. I intend to use that time to show them exactly what humanity is capable of. As the technical teams worked frantically to install the lighthouse system, and the aliens continued their methodical analysis of human technology, Leia couldn't help but wonder what other species had faced this same test. How many had tried to bargain for their survival? How many had succeeded? The next 72 hours would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the future of human civilization itself. 24 hours into humanity's extended deadline, the space station Leia had been transformed into something resembling a high-tech cathedral. The lighthouse system's primary components dominated the central hub, their crystalline structures pulsing with an inner light that seemed to bend space itself around them. Dr. Elizabeth Chin, the project's lead scientist, stood before the primary control array like a conductor preparing for the performance of her lifetime. Around her, teams of technicians made final adjustments to equipment that represented humanity's greatest technological achievement. Status report, Captain Leia called out as she entered the converted chamber. The quantum entanglement matrix is stable, Dr. Chin replied, her voice hoarse from 24 hours of continuous work. We've established synchronized connections with 17 other nodes throughout the solar system. The power grid is operational, though we're still fine-tuning the harmonic resonance frequencies. How long until we're ready for a test firing? 6 hours minimum. This isn't like conventional weapons, Captain. We're essentially creating a localized distortion in space-time that should theoretically disrupt the quantum coherence of their propulsion systems. Leia nodded, though she understood only half of what Dr. Chen was explaining. The important thing was that humanity finally had a weapon that might level the playing field. Captain, came a voice from the communication station. We're receiving a transmission from the alien vessel. They're requesting an update on our demonstration. Put them through. The familiar emotionless voice filled the chamber. Captain Vasquez, we have monitored your activities for the past 24 hours. Your construction project is noted. Please explain its relevance to your species' worthiness for survival. Leia chose her words carefully. We're building a monument to human ingenuity and cooperation. In times of crisis, our species has always found ways to come together and create something greater than the sum of its parts. Your monument appears to be a weapon system. It's a testament to our ability to defend ourselves and our world. Any species worthy of survival must be able to protect what it values. There was a pause, and Leia could almost feel the alien's analytical processes working through her response. Your logic has merit. Continue with your demonstration. However, we remind you that any aggressive action will result in immediate retaliation. Understood. As the transmission ended, Dr. Chen looked up from her instruments with concern. Captain, they know exactly what we're building. Their sensors are far more sophisticated than ours. Then we'd better hope it works. The next few hours passed in a blur of technical preparations and systems checks. Reports came in from across the solar system as other lighthouse nodes came online: Luna Base, the asteroid mining station series, even the research outpost on Europa. Each installation added to the network's overall power and effectiveness. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez approached with a tablet full of status reports. Earth Command is requesting a timeline for Operation Lighthouse. They need to coordinate the fleet movements with our firing solution. Tell them we'll be ready in 3 hours. What's the status of our unwelcome guests? The aliens are maintaining their positions, but we've detected increased activity from their main fleet. It's like they're preparing for something. Dr. Kim looked up from her analysis station. Captain, I've been studying the fragments of alien communications we've decoded. There's something disturbing. They're not just planning to eliminate humanity, they're planning to harvest our planet's resources and terraform it for their own use. Terraform it how? Based on their atmospheric preferences, they would need to reduce Earth's oxygen content by about 30% and increase the methane levels significantly. The process would take several decades, but it would make the planet uninhabitable for most Earth life. Leia felt a chill run down her spine. It wasn't just humanity at stake. It was every living thing on Earth. Captain, Dr. Chen called out. "We're ready for the first test. I've programmed the system to create a low-power pulse directed at a small asteroid about 50 kilometers away. If the calculations are correct, we should be able to disrupt its molecular structure. Proceed with the test." The lighthouse system hummed to life with a sound like 1,000 tuning forks resonating in perfect harmony. The crystalline components began to glow brighter, and the air itself seemed to shimmer with energy. "Firing in 10 seconds, Dr. Chen announced. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, firing. A beam of light that wasn't quite light shot out from the station's primary array, traveling the 50 kilometers to the target asteroid in an instant. Where it struck, reality seemed to bend and twist, creating a localized distortion that made the eye water to look at. The asteroid simply stopped existing. Not destroyed, not vaporized, but erased from reality, as if it had never been there at all. "Jesus Christ," someone whispered. "The quantum cascade worked perfectly," Dr. Chen said, her voice filled with awe. "We've created a weapon that can literally delete matter from existence." "Power consumption?" Leia asked. "Enormous. That low-power test drained about 15% of our total stored energy. A full-power shot would require everything we have. And what would a full-power shot do to their fleet? If we can target their command vessel, the quantum cascade should propagate through their network, disrupting the quantum coherence that holds their formation together. In theory, it could disable their entire fleet." Leia felt a surge of hope. For the first time since the crisis began, humanity had a real chance of survival. "Captain," the communications officer called out. "We're receiving multiple transmissions from the alien fleet. They're demanding to know what we just did." "Put them through." "Captain Vasquez." The alien voice carried a note of something that might have been concern. "You have just demonstrated a weapon system of considerable sophistication. This was not anticipated in our analysis of your species' capabilities. We're full of surprises." "Indeed. We require additional time to reassess your species' threat level. The demonstration period is extended to 96 hours. Leia couldn't help but smile. The aliens were afraid. For the first time in their interaction, humanity had shown them something they didn't expect, something that made them reconsider their assumptions. "Captain," Dr. Chen said quietly, "we need to talk. The lighthouse system, it's not just a weapon. The quantum effects we're generating are incredibly dangerous. If we miscalculate the targeting parameters or the power levels, we could accidentally create a cascade that affects our own planet." "What kind of effects?" "Worst case scenario? We could destabilize the quantum structure of Earth's matter itself. The entire planet could be deleted from existence." The weight of that revelation settled over the command center like a lead blanket. They had built a weapon capable of saving humanity, but using it carried the risk of destroying everything they were trying to protect. "What are the odds of a cascade failure? With our current understanding of the alien technology? About 15%. But Captain, that's still better odds than we have if we do nothing." Leia looked around at her crew, seeing her own determination reflected in their faces. They had come too far to turn back now. "Continue the preparations. But I want triple redundancy on all safety systems. If we're going to bet the Earth on this weapon, we're going to make sure we win." As the lighthouse system powered down from its test firing, Leia couldn't help but think about the irony of their situation. In trying to prove humanity's worthiness to survive, they had created a weapon that could accidentally destroy everything they held dear. The next 60 hours would determine not just the fate of human civilization, but the fate of Earth itself.